Hello people. I wanted to start out and do something that, or talk about something I have not really introduced to my YouTube channel, which is this CD right here. It's a self-produced CD. The name of the band, the Buck Naked Blues Band. So you want the blues. As you can see here from the interlay. And hopefully, because I don't have anybody helping me do this, you see copyright 1999, the Buck Naked Blues Band. Okay, and these are just 10 songs that are on the CD. Here's the inlay. I'm just going to read you a little bit about this particular band. Now, just to let you know, I was involved in this band, and I'm going to refer to myself as CJ, although some people know me as Chuck. So when I read this part to you, this is how we came up self-producing this CD. Now, with that being said, I'm a Floridian now. This was when I lived in Pennsylvania, so I had a basement. I used to be a drummer for... I started playing drums when I was 12, so on this particular CD, I self-produced it. There's only two musicians playing on this CD. I bought a drum set, and in my basement, I set up, I had an old, if anybody remembers from back in the day, in the 90s, everything's digital now, but I bought a 4-track Tascam recorder that used tapes. And how I recorded this, I had 2 microphones, and so the first thing I did as a drummer, without listening to any backing tracks with the bass, I just, in my head, I basically placed one microphone, in front of the bass drum, because that's where you want to hear that, for the beats, doom, pop, doom, and the other microphone up by the snare and the hi-hat. So yeah, so you'll be able to hear the beats when I do my rolls, boom, boom. You'll still be able to hear them, but the reason I wasn't able to fully mic up the entire drum set was, 1, I didn't have enough mics, and 2, you got to remember when you have a 4-track and your idea is to lay down a drum track. Now remember, you got 4 tracks to work with. Okay, you got to lay down a drum track, you got to lay down a bass track, and then you got to, in this case, typically you want to do a rhythm guitar, then a lead guitar, then vocals. Well, wait a second, that's 5 tracks right there. So how I did this using a 4-track recorder is with 2 microphones. I would lay down the drum track on track number 1 on a Tascam. Okay, then I would bring in Dave, who was the bass player. Excuse me for a minute. I would put my headphones on him, and then plug him into track number 2. Okay, and then him knowing the song, there was no guitar part yet, no vocals, he was just hearing drums. He was then able to add the bass part. Okay, so now I have drums mixed on 2 microphones on track number 1. Track number 2, you have the bass. Now you only have 2 tracks left, but I wanted to still go ahead and add a rhythm guitar, a lead guitar, and vocals. So when you only have 2 tracks available and you want 3 more parts, the only thing you do is bounce those 2 first tracks into 1. So for example, what I did is, using the mixer on the Tascam, I took the bass along with the drums and, got the sound where, to me, it sounded even, and then I would bounce tracks 1 and 2 on the Tascam to the 4th track. So now the bass and drums are on 1 track, and I got tracks number 1 and 2 that had the bass and drums, but I can record over it. But basically, that's leaving me the 3 open parts that I needed. So drums on 1 using 2 microphones on track number 2 to bass. Then I would bounce them, put them on track 4. That would allow me. Now, in this first particular song, which is the Buck Naked theme song, there are no vocals. Okay, so I'm almost positive, although I do have the original notation, I left the drums on track 1, the bass on track number 2. On track number 3, I put in a rhythm guitar, and on track number 4, a lead guitar. Now, on future songs, like the second song, which is Make a Move, which is the first original song that I wrote, which includes the lyrics, I had to do exactly where I put the drums down, had the bass on track 1, the drums on track 2. I would bounce them on the track 4. Then on track number 1, I added rhythm guitar. Track number 2, I added the lead guitar. And then track number 3, I did the vocals. And that's going to be on the second song, Make a Move. And I'm going to play along and show you guys exactly how, to play these particular songs. Now, I'm not going to do an illustration on all 10 tracks. Okay, just to let you know, these 10 tracks, there were 3 cover songs. Okay, track number 4, Let Me Love You Baby, a classic blues song that we did. I'm not going to play it here because it's copyrighted and I don't know. We also did Knocking on Heaven's Door and Purple Haze. None of those songs I'm going to go through here because those are cover songs. I'm going to focus in on 4 songs on this CD that me and my friend Dave, made the songs, wrote the songs, but these are original songs. Okay, Buck Naked Theme Song is the first one I'm going to show you here. And really, because it's just an instrumental, me and Dave kind of came up with just a tiny little riff, and then we just said, okay, this is going to be our theme song, and on we went. Then the next 3 songs, which are track number 2, track number 6, and track number 7, which is Make a Move, first original song I ever wrote, and then Smokin' Blues. Now that is an instrumental only, but it's an original that I wrote. And track number 7 on this CD, it's Saturday Night Blues, and that's also an original song that I wrote. So those are the songs. I don't know if you can see in the yellow highlight that I'm going to highlight here, or that I'm going to go through, but it's going to be individual videos. This first video is kind of introduction, how I mixed this CD. Now, when I say mix the CD, okay, let me read you the Who Are We part. And by the way, I don't know if you can see it because, again, this inlay in this CD was made in 1999. Back then, people weren't taking, tapes and putting them on the CD. But there I am, me, there's Dave, my drum set. But who we are, CJ and I, Dave, he's the one that eventually, when all 10 tracks were done and I had it on the Tascam tape, I handed it over to Dave, which still today works with computers, and somehow or another he was able to take that master tape of all 10 songs and put it on to a CD back in 1999, and we made labels, and we produced about 20 of these. These were made basically for ourselves and our friends. There's the back label, but anyway, CJ and I, me and Dave, because he's the one that wrote, basically once I handed over the tape, he's the one that did all the artwork and everything, and also wrote this part. So CJ and I, Dave, played together in a previous band, which, by the way, it's not in here, but that was Dead by Dawn. But things just weren't happening. A lot of practice in years, but no recording, no gigs, no new material. We were getting pretty lame, and we got tired of practicing with nothing to show for it. So CJ and I decided it was time for us to move on. We decided to start our own band. We wanted new ideas, new material, and a new attitude. We wanted something to show for our efforts. The recording you are holding is a result of 5 months of hard work, dedication, and a lot of fun. We hope you enjoy listening to it as much as we enjoyed making it. The Buck Naked Blues Band. We did have, Dave created this website. It's no longer, I tried to go on there, visit us on the web. It used to tell you about the making, step by step, how we produced it. If you guys want to try that website, it's http://theblues.8m.com, but I don't think that is a valid website nowadays. It used to be on Planet Olson, which is Dave's personal website. But anyway, the Buck Naked theme. Okay, what I'm going to do is, I got this on my SoundCloud, so I'm going to let you go ahead and hear the Buck Naked theme. Now keep in mind, there is no vocals. I'm playing guitar. Now, I was a beginner at guitar. I was much better. I was a seasoned drummer. So the guitar leads are not very good. But with that being said, let me go ahead and give you the full 3 minutes of the Buck Naked theme song, and then I'm going to go back with my guitar and I'll show you how we developed this particular song. All right, here we go. Here. All right, so sorry about that. So on this particular song, it's a real easy riff. You're going to come off the A, and then we went to the G. So if you're doing rhythm and it's just a free flow. Okay, and then when you hear that the turnaround, it's just a simple D to the C, back here. Now for solos, I was very new, so the solo was not very good, but I basically stayed in this A pentatonic, and So that's the Buck Naked theme. Anyway,